a brand new floor update in Roblox Doors, not only did we get new entities and new features, but we also gained many new lucky moments that the players in the community may run into. These are the luckiest moments ever recorded in Doors Floor 2. Make sure you like and subscribe, or else you will never be lucky again. Let's start things off with a banger. People know that grumbles can be annoying, especially since there can be as many as 3 to 4 crawling around their way around the nest. But this player was traveling along until he was barricaded in by 2 grumbles. You won't believe what happens next though. What? The grumbles literally bonked heads while the player was in the middle, and then they went their separate ways? Sounds like a pro strategy if you ask me. But they weren't the only pro that can deal with these pesky grumblers. This player was also able to lure a grumble to their location, and it seemed like they were in for some bad luck until this particular moment happened. Yo, no freaking way! This grumble honestly just took a look at the player and got so close to him, then decided it wasn't worth it and turned the other way as well. I have no idea what was going through the entity's head during that time, but that's just wild to see that happen. Here's an oldie. I think you guys remember the shadow entity, you know, the one that literally has a 1 out of 2,000 chance of spawning in a room? Well, someone already found the entity within the mines, and its effect within floor 2 is very interesting. Wow! So the entity's sound effect is significantly louder than before, and you do catch a really good glimpse of what the underglow light that the entity reveals as well. Again, that's a 1 out of 2,000 moment, which is stupid rare. But you guys remember Jack, right? And no, we're not talking about the Captain Jack painting of me within the game. We all know that the entity shows up in the lockers and closets with a 1 out of 200 chance, which is, while rare, not the craziest thing that we've seen. But how about this version of the entity? A player was able to run into a perma version of the entity, which is really interesting. The entity can be seen being stuck within a closet, and you can even hide inside with him if you wanted to give him a hug. That's pretty crazy. But you know what else is very rare? Running into a room jack within the mines. Can you actually get a red room within floor 2? And if so, what would it look like? Well, we do have our first red room lucky moment coming from Combink. Bro, no freaking way! So apparently Red Room Jack can actually spawn a red room within the mines, and you guessed it, this is another 1 out of 2,000 chance event, which is just as rare as running into a shadow. But you want to know something that's even more luckier than running into just a shadow or a room jack? How about running into a red room with another entity also spawning in at the same time? That's exactly what happened to Bunyax. They were able to record themselves in a red room deep within the mines, while Eyes and an entity that has a 3% chance of spawning into the game. This means this moment was actually a 3 out of 200,000 times moment, especially because of the rarity of both entities being combined into one. But how about some item luck? You know, treasure chests can contain some valuable items, and sure, getting a bulk light within the vine-covered chest is cool and all, but that's nothing compared to this lucky moment. This guy was able to obtain not 1, but 2 crucifixes within a single vine-covered treasure chest. I mean, honestly, 1 crucifix is rare by itself, but 2 in 1? Just go play the lottery at that point, because the chances of finding 2 crucifixes in 1 chest is around a 1 out of 25,000 chance lucky moment. Ambush spawning into the game isn't really that rare. It's about a 1 out of 200 chance in itself, but what's interesting about this one is that a player was already able to spawn in an ambush within the newly revamped courtyard, and somehow didn't even die to it being so far away from its hitbox. How the heck did bro even manage his way all the way out here, especially due to how fast the ambush entity is capable of going? It's gotta be the medicine or something. but this next one will genuinely leave your head shaking. And this time, it does involve with the Rush entity. Obviously, Rush is like one of the least rare entities out there, but Yostia was able to avoid the entity in completely lucky fashion. Bro, how the heck is Rush going to get past you at door 90 plus and just leave you behind alive? It's like the entity felt bad and didn't even touch him at all, because that should have been a game over right there easily. You guys already know about those fuses for the generators, right? It could take as long as a couple minutes just in order to hunt them all down. Well, check this out. This player was lucky enough to find them all in one locker, having every slot within the locker completely covered with items. But hey, let's get back to even more rarer moments within Floor 2. You remember when Boniac was able to run into a Jack Red room and the Eyes entity? Well, Rat Gaming also ran into the same encounter, but this time, Figure was around in that area too. Yeah, that's wild. It's yet another super rare moment of a 3 out of 200,000 times moment, especially with Eyes and Red Jack being in the room. But do you want to see a cool room I bet you've never seen before? Erasm was able to run into this room within the mines that features no roof as the rain comes down onto the players. These types of rooms are more rare than normal, usually taking several runs in order to find them. Another player within the Doors Discord server was also able to experience this as they took screenshots of the room for documentation. It's hard to place an exact rarity onto these rooms, but it's probably somewhere around a 1 out of 200 chance. There was even a person who was able to find this room within the first 20 doors, which is really cool to see. Yet another shadow moment, but this time during the Seek Chase, which arguably makes it more rarer than not. Yeah, that's nice. It's yet another very cool 1 out of 2,000 chance moment, which is always nice to see. Clement6789 was also able to run into a 1 out of 2,000 chance, but this time with the Jack entity as well, but in high quality video. But what's the luckiest moment so far anyone has seen within the Floor 2 update?
Maybe the dead end. Maybe the dead end. Oh my god. Oh my god. I just weaved him. I just weaved him. I just weaved him. Ah! Dead end again. Oh my god. Did you see that? Please tell me you saw that.
That was such a pro and honestly really lucky moment right there, bro. But what's your luckiest moment so far? Like and subscribe, and we'll see you all on the next one.